You're watching QPTV Daily Social Live, QPTV.org Live Daily Show. I'm your host for today, James. Let's get started. Hello, everyone. I hope... Oh, it shouldn't be like that. That's what we're looking for. There we go. On this Throwback Thursday, we'll call it. For me, it's seasonal allergy Thursday, unfortunately. But I hope you're doing well. It is a sunny, beautiful day outside. And we have a lot to get to on today's QPTV Daily Social Live because there's a lot going on QPTV and QPTV.org. Let's tell you about the QPTV. We have an alert message for you. QPTV's channels and website are currently under construction and maintenance. We ask for your patience while we make things better. Program submissions to QPTV's web file upload portal are not currently available. Please do not send in your files for processing via web or email. We'll be sure to let you know via this program and via QPTV's newsletter just exactly when everything will be back and improved for you. So stay tuned for that. And with that, we have a quick COVID-19 update for you. Just letting you know that we have a ton of resources, information, links, and video on COVID-19 and especially COVID-19 in Queens. QPTV's own Queens Conversations and Queens Perspectives has had an ongoing series of episodes focusing on COVID-19 in Queens. Go to QPTV.org to check it all out. So let's talk about what's happening today. Tonight, 6, right here on QPTV.org. Join Jessica Gonzalez Rojas from Assembly District 34 and the New Queens community for a town hall on mental health. And she'll have guest speakers, and they'll talk about trends during COVID-19, resources, and they'll answer questions. Make sure you tune in here tonight at QPTV.org at 6 p.m. You can watch that live. Before we get to this part, actually, this is actually very good. This was the Asian American Community Mayoral Candidates Forum. What we'll do is show a clip, but before that, I also want to tell you what's happening today at 3 o'clock. Queens Conversations, which is the live talk show featuring QPTV's award-winning production and hosting team, Lucia Dragosh, Noran Omar, and John Collins, having discussions with a diverse spectrum of Queens residents and leaders. Every topic is incredibly relevant, and every discussion is enlightening. In this episode, they're focusing now on neighborhoods. What we'll do, we'll play this little clip from the beginning, and we'll come back around and we'll talk about the mayoral forum. Check it out.
The borough of Queens is renowned for its diversity, created largely by the waves of immigrants who chose to settle here over many decades. At first, they often tended to live together with others who had similar backgrounds and values, helping to form distinct neighborhoods. Today, Queens is a mosaic of these vibrant and different neighborhoods. So we decided to examine what makes them unique. In a series we call Neighborhood Notes, we'll be looking at the food, the culture, the history, and the people of our colorful Queens neighborhoods. For our first stop, let's visit Astoria.
We're back. The QPTV Daily Social Live. Let's talk about that program, the 2021 race for NYC mayor. Let's take a look at a clip right now. But of course, if you want to watch the whole thing, go to QPTV.org. It's right there for you to take a look at. Let's get it up. Sorry about that. Let's get it going.
There, in terms of narrow profit margins and taxes and high fees, but also at the same time, workers, particularly those who are without immigration status, they are enduring unemployment, instability in work, and sometimes they're pitted against the business owners. So in terms of this topic, how do you promote small business revitalization while also supporting immigrant workers in terms of health and safety protections, fighting against wage theft and things like that? BP Adams, I'll leave that up to you.
Thank you. And they go together. We don't have to have one without the other. In fact, the alignment is so important. Here's what we must do. We must stop being a city that is too expensive, too bureaucratic, too difficult to do business in. And far too often, the various agencies that ensure businesses are licensed, open, inspected, they do just the opposite. They work against our small businesses, and it impacts that small profit margin that you're talking about. That's why I talk about in my 100 plus steps forward for New York City of creating a My City card, a card that would allow a small business to go to one agency, single platform, to get all the items and document its need, the business needs. Second, we need to put a really 30-day system in place for citations that are non-emergency or life-threatening. Instead of automatically issuing a citation, let's give them a warning, allow them to approve the condition. If it's something that is dangerous, 14 days. If it's something that's life-threatening, give them a 24 to 48 hours. First, support our small businesses, and then build out our Chamber of Commerce. Allow the Chamber of Commerce to do the backroom work for our small businesses so they can focus on just doing their job as they're attempting to grow their business. And lastly, we need to look at our procurements for goods and services. We spend over $2 billion a year for purchasing of goods and services. Many of those purchases take place outside our city. Let's focus on our small businesses, give them access to capital, a local business network. And this way, our small businesses will have the profits they need so we can pay those minimum wages and make sure that we give the health care and other things that our workers need.
Okay, thank you, BP Adams. Mr. Yang, I'll have you weigh in here. How will you make sure these businesses get the help they need to recover and thrive? I mean, obviously, all businesses have suffered in terms of the pandemic, but particularly Asian American businesses that have been hit and taken a hit in terms of shunning even. How would you help the small businesses and their immigrant workers?
Well, the first step is actually to let the Asian American small business owners know what the resources are, what the programs are, and what the relief can look like. The reality is that our community has been less successful in accessing PPP loans and other forms of relief that have been made available to people in their situation. And this is a massive opportunity, but it is really disheartening, frankly, when I talk to Asian American small business owners and I ask them, like, hey, did you get this PPP loan? Like, what's your banking relationship? And there are a lot of folks who just don't have that level of connectivity to our financial system and to some extent our government. So that's one big opportunity that I would love to help address. Nothing would make me happier. In terms of workers' rights, one of the big problems if you have an undocumented worker is that they feel like they have no connection to anything. And if they complain, then they're going to be deported. They don't have any recourse. They have no bargaining power vis-a-vis their employer. So one of my major initiatives to help on that front is going to be to try and get basic financial services to the 11% of New Yorkers who don't have them right now. And many of these folks are Asian American undocumented workers who are paying hundreds of dollars a year they don't have on check cashers, money lenders, wiring fees, and the rest of it. If we can get them basic financial services accompanied with an ID NYC, then they'd have some degree of, frankly, like, first, their financial services would actually be much more seamless, but then they'd be much more likely to be able to access any kind of protections in the workplace that they're eligible for. I will say that right now, the primary mission has to be to try and get these businesses back open. I would declare a 1-year moratorium on small business fines. We need to be a better partner to small business, and we need to make sure the Asian American community actually gets its fair share of the relief money that's going to be flowing out of both DC and Albany. And I would love to make that happen. It would give me a lot of joy and pride.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Yang. Mr. Donovan, your turn to weigh in here on this topic.
Thanks. Thank you, Shirley. Look, I want to agree with a lot of what Eric and Andrew have said. We have a mayor who thinks we can regulate our way to recovery as opposed to actually helping the small businesses, particularly immigrant-owned businesses that are the lifeblood of our economy. And so it's outrageous to me to go to Jackson Heights and hear about the stories of fines, conflicting fines from different agencies who are telling business owners to do different things a week apart, hearing how difficult it is just to get a sign approved, having to hire lawyers and expediters to do all this. Thank goodness we have business improvement districts and chambers of commerce that can help those businesses. But we have to change fundamentally the approach to say, we want small businesses to open and survive, not just survive, but thrive. And so we have to create a single website where you can get every approval you need from the city, make it simple. We have to invest in the partners who provide technical assistance. And we have to make sure that we're investing the capital that's necessary to get that done. I have an entrepreneurship financing fund that I'm proposing that would really radically change the opportunity for those businesses. And I want to say, Shirley, I'm both the grandson and son of immigrants. My dad came to this city, started a business, and this is a very personal thing to me to make sure we're doing it. The other side of this, though, too, is on the worker side. We know that so many.
I'm going to have to wrap you up. We have to stay on time.
Oh, I'm sorry. I've got the timer that says 25 seconds here. I thought Eric.
So what you want to do, go to qptv.org. You can check that out today. And you'll find plenty of other QPTV live simulcasts and other upcoming live programs and events right here on qptv.org. We're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back. You can find us on social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Twitch. You can watch us or communicate, connect with us. You could also contact us directly through email if that's your preferred choice. media@qptv.org. Send us your questions or comments. And remember to save us to your favorites on your remote control, Spectrum, RCN, and Fios. Of course, QPTV's newsletter. We're about to wrap up today's show because we got a lot going on today. 3 o'clock. Queen's Conversations. I hope you're excited because I am. They're going to focus on Astoria, so it's going to be a great time on Queen's Conversations today on qptv.org. let's get into a little bit of this last thing I'll be showing you today before we head on out. Virtual Queens Day, May 4th. Queens Chamber of Commerce and several other folks representing the borough of Queens had their virtual meetup with the Queens delegation from Albany. But instead of heading up to Albany, it was virtual this year. And with that came a lot of other wonderful guests that were able to drop in and give us a few updates on what's happening and what's going on with the borough in terms of the grander legislature. Let's take a look at the clip that we have queued up today. But of course, you can watch the entire program on QPTV.org anytime. Let's bring that up so you can take a look.
She was out there as well today.
Yeah. Lieutenant Governor, welcome. Can you hear us okay?
She has it on mute.
You're muted, Lieutenant Governor.
All right. Is that working better, guys?
Just perfect.
Okay. All right.
So we already turned the microphone over to Borough President Richards, but you got your connection. We want to make the most of it. So please, welcome and thank you for being here so much.
Well, thank you. And I'm so sorry. I've been on like 14,000 Zoom calls and I've never had a problem with the internet, but now I'm anywhere in the state. I'm sitting in Midtown Manhattan looking at Queens and I can't get the connection. So I think I'm just going to swim over and solve this in person. So, oh my gosh. I did have a chance to hear many of your great speakers. I heard our Deputy Majority Leader, Mike Gianaris, and what a great job he's doing, and all the senators and assembly members, and my good friend Alicia. I thank you for always supporting me and being there to work collaboratively for Queens. Tom Gresh, you're a rock star. You and I had a lot of conversations throughout this pandemic, and it was painful. It was about as bad as anyone could have ever predicted. But I want to tell you, you and the Queens Chamber were phenomenal. You, Tom Santucci, everybody, keeping that dialogue going when people just had so many questions and so many fears and anxieties. And you answered them. You contacted the state. We were involved with you every inch of the way to come up with policies on shutting down smartly, but now the reopening. And I hope you feel what I'm feeling, so much better. I was just with our great borough president, Donovan Richards, on the weekend, and having a fabulous rally to show support for the Asian community, which was really important with Grace Meng. Senator Schumer was there. I mean, everybody was there to show up to support the residents of Queens, but not just the residents, the people of Queens and the businesses that you represent. And so I know this has been a tough year, but I really feel that we've turned the corner, get the MTA going again, get people back to work, get them back in the walking around the streets and feeling that sense of confidence and that swagger that we all love as New Yorkers. And so I wish we could welcome you in person in Albany. That's always such a great party. I enjoy the food, the celebration. And I was always there with Melinda Katz when she was our wonderful borough president. And I've had a great connection with many of you because I come from a place called the Queen City. I'm not from Queens, but Buffalo is known as the Queen City. So I've always felt this close affinity with people that are underestimated and areas of the state that maybe sometimes like they live in the shadows of others. No longer. Queens has had a breakout time. You've had extraordinary successes. And as the chair of the Regional Economic Development Councils, pumping money all over the state, I know that Queens has been a tremendous beneficiary because so many of you have fought for great projects. I've visited them. I've met your leaders in the business community, but also our academic institutions in Queens are second to none. And we're creating a pipeline of fabulous workers who want to stay in Queens. They want to raise their families there, just like they were able to. The most fascinatingly diverse place on this planet. So I want to thank you for coming together again, Tom, to you and your incredible team and everybody on this call. And take a rain check. I'm going to be up there in Albany with you next year. We'll celebrate your Albany Day in person, but let's keep the conversation going. We are on the cusp of turning things around, and we're going to be far better for us. I'm really energized. I'm excited. I look forward to my return visit again. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Lieutenant Governor. And I also want to thank you for your kindness in inviting me to be part of the New York City REDC with my partner, Hope Knight. Together, we're we're going to go out and get a lot of funding for the great county of Queens, and we're going to be second to none. And I really do appreciate that. I can tell you that Joanne, I want to thank Joanne and Neil, my staff. Joanne, I think, has already made a reservation for the egg in 2022. So
Great.
we had 50 restaurants. I want to blow it up for next year. So again, thank you so much for being here, and thank you for your leadership.
Right. Take care, my friends. Bye-bye.
Without further ado, the one and only Donovan Richards, who I did some time with making an introduction for. Borough President Richards, would you mind jumping right in?
Yeah, thank you, and good evening, everyone. It's great to see and hear from our Lieutenant Governor, Kathy Hochul. I want to thank, of course, Assemblymember Hyman, my neighbor, not only in elected office, but also literally my neighbor who lives up the block from me. I want to thank her for her leadership in Albany, especially as it relates to our small businesses. A special thank you to Tom Gretsch and Tom for fighting for our small businesses and for orchestrating tonight's event. It's a pleasure to be here tonight. And of course, I have to acknowledge my predecessor, Melinda Katz, District Attorney Katz as well, who I see on. Once again, I want to acknowledge how especially difficult the last 14 months have been for small businesses and nonprofits here in the city. In Queens, many of our small businesses are owned by first and second generation New Yorkers who put their life savings into their businesses. This pandemic took an enormous toll on their livelihoods, and sadly, some owners could not bear the brunt of this storm and closed shop. Others have hung on, but just barely. More recent developments have given me hope, though. I'm sure many of you will agree with me. The Biden administration and Congress extended subsidy. I said subsidy, but
Excellent. So what you want to do, of course, is check that out on qptv.org. We have that and many other live simulcasts. You can watch those on demand now. So let's wrap this up. Let's show you what's happening today. All right, let's show you exactly what's happening today. A lot of buttons to press. Okay. First of all, we have the virtual town hall series, Mental Health. That's tonight, 6 p.m. right here on qptv.org. Don't want to miss that. And then, of course, we'll have, give it a second to come up. We have Queen's Conversations live at 3 p.m. You can watch that right here on qptv.org as well. You could also always go to qptv.org if you need to find out what's coming on, what's on the schedule, any updates. And like I said before, and I'll always say, please sign up for the newsletter if you want to get that information right in your inbox. And of course, if you're following us on social media, you know, we're everywhere on there as well. And we update those regularly. That's it. It's been a wonderful show. We have a lot of great content coming up today, as we do every day. And tomorrow we'll be recapping some of what happened tonight and be telling you about what's coming up next week. Be ready, because there's a lot. If you thought this week was a lot, we have a lot more amazing content to bring to you and tell you about, and just inform you about what's happening on QPTV and QPTV.org and QPTV Daily Social Live. And with that, I want to thank you once again, because of course, you know, we can't do this without you. This is what QPTV is all about. It's about helping facilitate community media and bringing you the information about your community via information, compelling programs, and then also giving you the access and the resources to tell those compelling stories as well. So what you want to do is go to qptv.org, go to qptv.org/learn, go to qptv.org/watch, go to qptv.org/create to do any of those things. And you can find out how to do that right now. And then, of course, if you're unclear, come right back here to qptv.org's daily social live. Write me an email, what have you. I'll be happy to tell you. Explain right here on the show. So that's it. Tell your friends about us, share and subscribe. Stay safe and be well.